Anybody have any? Yes, back there.
Hi, I'm Emily Gressing, and I'm 10, and I've been a Democrat for 3 years. And if you do eliminate the No Child Left Behind law, how will you measure how the teachers are doing and how they're teaching the kids, and whether they're succeeding?
Well, that is a really good question. And I'm glad you're a Democrat. We need more young Democrats like you. It's a great question. You know, I am a strong believer in accountability in public education. We need to know how much our kids are learning. We need to know how well our teachers are teaching. That should be a given. But I think that what has happened with No Child Left Behind is that it has homogenized, in a sense, our class. It is treating everybody as a little test taker. You know, all the children are being forced into a certain mold, and a lot of the curriculum is being eliminated in favor of just focusing on teaching for these tests. And I think that's unfortunate. And I believe that we could have both a broader curriculum that would excite kids' learning and perhaps ignite their interests, because you'd have art and music and, foreign languages and all the programs that are often being cut out. So I would do it differently. I would like to see us move more toward individualized accountability on how students do. Let's say we have a class of 25 students here in Keene, and maybe 5 of the students are not even English speaking when they arrive. And maybe 5 of the students are special education students who are mainstreamed. And 15 of the students are all ranges of preparation and aptitude. Under No Child Left Behind, a test is given at the beginning of the year. And all the children take the same test. And on a scale from 1 to 5, the average is 2. So by the end of the year, a test is given, and the average has been brought up to 4, which is, on average, pretty good, because you had a lot of kids who started out pretty far behind. Well, the whole class is considered to be failing because you haven't met the 5 standard, so you're not considered proficient. And what you have done during that year is take, say, the 5 kids who could pass the test tomorrow and score a 5. They have basically been stalled in their learning because all the attention has been given to the kids who need to have their proficiency raised. Wouldn't it be a lot better to take those 25 kids and to have 25 different scores? So you'll have the 5 who are 5, and you'll have, the 5 who are 1s, and then you'll have the 15 who are from 2 to 4. And what we want to do is move all of them up that really reflects their learning. So if somebody is at 5 to start and is at 5 at the end, what has that child learned? We've got to let that child kind of run free. Have that child given more challenging information and curriculum. Let that child go as fast as he or she can go. And for the children who are 1s and 2s and 3s, we need to tailor our interventions that will most help them. For kids who are not English-speaking kids, obviously they need intensive language help. And for kids who are special ed, they need the kind of constant mentoring and tutoring that will help them. And for other kids, let's find out what they're interested in and what they're good at. And when you give tests only in math and science, you miss the kids who, or math and reading, you miss the kids who are good in science. You might have a kid who's really interested in learning about, as they all are at that age, dinosaurs, and they're reading wildly, but, they're not good test takers. There's just so many variations on what makes for a good test taker. So I'd like to go toward what are called growth models, where how much does an individual child learn? And then we need more mentoring and support for teachers so that they can provide that individualized instruction. And I think we could get much better results. The other problem with No Child Left Behind is that when you narrow the curriculum and you focus just on those tests, you really demoralize teachers. You know, a lot of teachers went into teaching as a calling. They stayed in teaching because they loved children. And all of a sudden, everything they used to do, which they knew worked, the field trips, the special projects. What do I remember from all that schooling 100 years ago? That's what I remember. I remember the special times. I remember my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. King, taking 5 of us and saying, I want you to write a play. Write a play? We'd never done anything like that in our lives. Write a play. She said, I want you to write a play about a group of students going to Europe. So I want you to read everything about Europe. I want you to have a play where you go to different countries, and I want you then to put on the play. What a great opportunity. So for a month, we read everything there was to read about Europe, which none of us had ever been there, and we wrote a play, and then we performed the play. That was a signal experience in my education. But I'm sure that Mrs. King today would say, well, we don't have time to do something creative like that. We're just going to have to keep drilling, and I'm so sorry that the 5 of you are doing better than some of my other students, but you're just going to have to go off on your own because I don't have time to come up with anything I can supervise. I don't think that's smart. You know, we do have to raise the standards, and that means not letting states get away with lowering standards so they look better. That's what's happening today. You have a lot of states that are saying, well, we're embarrassed because our students aren't doing well, so we'll just lower the standard. But if you compare them to another state, they're not doing well, and they're getting away with it. So the federal government should set broad standards about what kids should learn within sort of age bands, and we should have much more effective tests that determine what children are learning. We should widely publicize it, and frankly, you know, one of the reasons we're in this No Child Left Behind situation is because at the time President Bush was elected, he claimed he'd made all this progress on improving education in Texas. And it turns out it was phony. Big surprise. And so we basically adopted an educational model based on fraudulent claims about what was happening in Texas schools. We're also seeing an increase in dropouts because a kid drops out of school in America every 26 seconds. And a lot of them are being pushed out because they reflect badly on the test scores. So there's just a lot we can do to be honest about how well we are and are not doing, to unleash the learning potential of kids who are already racing ahead, and let's give them as much support to go as fast and far as possible, and then to help a lot of kids improve on a very personal basis with the help that they need. So that's more of what I would do, and I think it would work better.